They're professionals with skill, but a very narrow focus. As adventurers, we're better off with more breadth and depth when it comes to magic. We never know what we'll come across. As the barge sailed downriver, it left verdant fields behind. The mist coming from the river was thicker or thinner in various places as they sailed through, the surrounding terrain reflecting its life-giving power. When it was thin, the desert came right up to the riverbanks. Where the fog was thick, the river bounded with life. It might be a patch of wet forest, or a long, gorgeous valley of lush green. "This is where they grow mist-run tea," Rufus said, as they passed through the valley. "One of the finest teas in the world. Costs a lot, back home." Mist Run was the name of the river they were sailing down, unimaginatively named for its signature mist. According to Rufus, the source of the river was the largest water aperture in the desert. "It's not a natural river?" Jason asked. "It depends on what you think of as natural," Rufus said. "There's an oasis with the aperture at the bottom of a lake. All this water flows from there." The most exciting point of the journey came when the river reached a deep gorge. The river should have spilled into the gorge, but instead it flowed into a humongous aqueduct that spanned over the lengthy gap. 100 meters wide and 300 meters across, the aqueduct carried the river and those who sailed it over the gorge to continue along on the far side. The aqueduct was built entirely from green marble. "This is crazy," Jason said as they crossed over. Even at 100 meters wide, the aqueduct was thinner than the river. This noticeably sped up the flow of the river and the speed of their barge. Jason looked out at the gorge, but they weren't close to the edge, and he couldn't see much over the raised lip of the aqueduct. All that was visible was an unnerving expanse of sky. "Sky River Gorge," Gary said enthusiastically. "I tried to get them to go closer to the side so we could look over, but they said no." "How deep is this gorge?" Jason asked. "The pillars holding this thing up must be huge." "Interestingly," Rufus said, "this aqueduct has no structural support other than the two ends." "That doesn't sound safe," Jason said. "Rufus, I think you were wrong," Gary said. "You did make too much preparation." "You do kind of sound like a tour guide," Jason said. "What's a tour guide?" Rufus asked. "Someone who gets paid to stand near interesting things to tell people about them," Jason explained. Farah laughed. "Rufus, I think you missed your calling," she said. "What's wrong with teaching people about interesting places?" Rufus asked. "It sounds like a noble vocation. If there was one here, for example, they could point out that no one knows who built this aqueduct." Gary groaned. "Why would you learn that?" he asked. "How does it help us with missions?" "You carry on, Rufus," Jason said. "I'd like to hear it." "Thank you," Rufus said. "The aqueduct was already here when people first moved to this region, some 3.5 centuries ago. At least that's when it was permanently settled. There is some evidence of people being in this region before, but no historical record of who or when." "Except for that old order of assassins," Gary said. "Yes, Gary," Rufus said. "Except for that old order of assassins we very specifically aren't meant to be talking about yet." "Sorry." Jason and his new companions sailed downriver all day and into the night. Come morning, the pre-dawn terrain. It was like someone had recreated a town from the American Old West in Southeast Asia using North African materials. Stone storefronts lined a main street where he half expected old-timey piano music to come drifting through the swinging saloon doors. Jason was actually able to find a saloon, although with disappointingly ordinary doors. They didn't swing and, wood being a rarity, were made from woven reeds. It was fronted by plenty of windows, none of which had glass, allowing light and air to flow inside freely. Walking in, he saw quite a few people eating at scattered tables, as well as at a long bar. A short breakfast menu was chalked onto a board. Most items were fried things he didn't recognize the name of. After a pleasant breakfast of rice porridge with nuts and dried fruit, Jason left to meander down the main street. He wanted to look around, and also needed directions to the city. The people were olive-skinned, with dark hair, which was normal for the other places Jason had seen. Only Rufus, with his chocolate complexion, and Farah, with her light skin and pixie features, had been different amongst the humans Jason had met. As for the aggressively Aryan Anissa, he had no other elves for comparison. There were a number of people going about their business in the main street, on foot or using carts and wagons. There were plenty of heidels, either yoked to wagons or tied to hitching posts. Like the wagons Jason had seen before, the carts and wagons here used bamboo for their construction, with a few wooden parts to supplement, such as the wheel rims. As he made his way down the street, he came across two people standing in the middle, talking loudly. It was a young man and a middle-aged woman halfway yelling at one another. "If you can't wait until the healer comes through at the end of the month," the man said, "then take him to the city." "That's what I want to do," the woman said. "But money's tight now. Rattlings ate half our crop and we can't afford a healer in the city." "No more loans," the man said sharply. Then his face softened. "I sympathize with your position, but monster attacks are part of life. Look, I'll ask my father about extending your terms, but that's the best I can do." The woman was about to keep pressing her case when they turned to Jason, who had walked right up to them. "G'day," Jason said. "I, and pretty much everyone, couldn't help but overhear. If you'd like, I can give it a go." "Give what a go?" the man asked. "Someone's crook, yeah? I might be able to sort him out." "You're a healer?" "I wouldn't go that far," Jason said. "I can't heal injuries, but I might be able to knock off a disease. I'm heading for the city to sign up as an adventurer, and one of my abilities deals with disease. Full disclosure, I haven't actually tried it out yet, but I can give it a go." "You're an adventurer?" the woman asked. "Prospective adventurer," Jason corrected. "I'm Jason." "We can't afford to pay you," the woman said. "Monsters tore up our fields, ruined most of our crop." "That's rough," Jason said. "But no worries, this one's on the house." "Does that mean free?" "Sure does," Jason said. "I can't promise results, though. I've never tried this ability before, but I'll do my best." "This sounds shady," the man said. "Listen to the way he talks. Look at him. He's clearly not from anywhere near here, and he doesn't have any eyebrows. Are you going to trust a man with no eyebrows?"